You want us just to jump in? Yeah? Okay, awesome. Appreciate everybody sticking around for this session. I'm going to let us both kind of do quick intros and kick this off. I think we're talking about AI, but we're really going to talk about Draiver, which is the Patricia has some pretty exciting news around a consumer application that they're launching. She can talk to you a bit more about that in a second. I guess I'll start real fast so I can turn it over to you to talk, because that's why we're here. So I run growth for Media.Monks globally, which is a big advertising agency consulting firm. If you haven't heard of it, it's about 9,000 people. We'll get into AI stuff, I think, in a minute. But I'm going to pass it over to Patricia and let her introduce herself and maybe talk about Draiver and why you're sponsoring here at F1.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Patricia. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for Draiver. I'm based in LA, and so I'm still getting used to the humidity. But it's so great to be here. So little super quick background on me. I've been in digital advertising marketing for 25 years in San Francisco and LA primarily, and agency side and client side at Disney and some other companies. So I've been mostly in automotive, and entertainment is my background. I'm from Detroit, so the automotive part's kind of in my blood. And I grew up going to the Detroit Grand Prix, which, fun fact, Grand Prix was kind of the precursor to Formula One. So anyway, it's so awesome to be here and kind of back to my roots, seeing a Grand Prix race, which I haven't seen since I was a kid. So a little bit about Draiver. We are a lot like Uber, but we're different. We are, we instead of the way Uber and Lyft move people around with a driver network, we move empty vehicles around for businesses. And now, this weekend, we're launching a new consumer app, on-demand car movement, car delivery for your own personal vehicle. So let's say you want your car moved across the country or across town, even to just get an oil change and you don't want to deal with that hassle, we can do that for you on demand. So it's kind of this ultimate convenience and luxury where you don't have to deal with, taking your car or moving your car to, if you have another home, or if you want, if your kid's going to college and you need to move their car cross country, all those kind of use cases. So we're just doing a soft launch here in Miami at the Formula One event. We're a sponsor here. So you'll see the Draiver in various places. We're in the Paddock Club today and Turn 18 Suites, and then also the Hospitality Village. We're sponsoring that too. So hopefully I'll see some of you there. Let's see, Draiver, why we're a fit for Formula One. We are an AI, it's in our name. Instead of driver, there's an A. That's why we're Draiver. And we're an AI tech-driven...
It's an Easter egg.
Get it? So we're a tech-driven, AI-driven platform that powers all of our technology for our business customers and now consumers. So we're all about this, just logistics technology that makes basically the benefit all that AI and technology leads to is that we can move cars faster than anyone else using technology and then using this independent driver network. We're based in the US, and then we operate in Canada, Mexico, Brazil, and a few other countries. We're rolling out in South America. And then we're just expanding pretty fast. But that's a little bit about us. When you think about Formula One, any of you who are real fans here, there's so much technology and so much money and so much innovation that happens, year after year with these incredible automobiles. And that is so in tune with what we do. And being kind of in the automotive space, since a lot of our customers, our business customers, are automotive OEMs and fleet companies like Penske, who have big fleets of vehicles and trucks. It's just it's a natural fit for us to be aligned with Formula One. So I think I answered your questions.
Yeah, no,
but
that's great. What was the on the consumer side of things? What was the sort of strategic insight inside the business to say, hey, it's time for us to, we've been behind the scenes doing this in a B2B format for a long time, and now it's time to sort of open up the consumer market?
It's a great question. So we just realized we had this incredible platform and 20,000 drivers, a network just in the U.S., 20,000 network of drivers in the U.S. And a lot of us in the company were like, you know what, this would work for me as an individual. And we also have a lot of smaller customers who don't have maybe the big scale that some of our larger customers do. So we wanted to give them, instead of a desktop platform, which is what our main product is, we wanted them to have an app, just on demand, easy. You can set it up anytime, go to the App Store, download it, and schedule your move. So that was really the impetus for us to create this app.
Interesting. And when you talk about I guess AI is just a big looming word for a minute, which we can get into. Is that an extension of what was already existed in the B2B side that was moved into consumer, or was there advancements in that led to that?
It's a great question. So obviously, when you go to a consumer market, then a B2B market, it's a whole different audience. So that is, largely my job is to figure out how do we connect and resonate with the consumer audience and make this work. So we're still early days. We're launching it basically today. It's in the app stores now, but we're launching it now, and there's going to be a lot of testing and learning that we do in terms of how that evolves.
Okay, so let's maybe talk about AI quickly, since that's what I think we're supposed to talk about.
AI and marketing.
Yeah, exactly. I can give you my perspective quickly. So at Media.Monks, we did a poll. The best way I like to explain it is we did a poll with Forrester back in 2018 and asked, however many people Forrester asked when you do these things, to ask senior level marketers and CEOs and stuff how far they thought they were through their digital transformation. And 75% or so said that they thought they'd be through it within the next 12 months, which is really interesting because it makes you think they think there's an end to this thing.
There's
and then, of course, then we go 2019 and it's cloud computing, and 2020 comes and it's COVID, and all of a sudden the internet's a different thing. And then 2021 hits, and I think that was really where you saw a lot of these Gen Z marketing business models start to really take form, which was the idea that I don't sell a product and then find an audience. I build an audience and then sell them all kinds of products. And then you get 2021, or 2022, which was all metaverse, Web3, NFT, all that stuff we did last year. Now AI is coming along, and AI has been around for a long time.
It has.
It's just now getting to the point where people can't comprehend how fast it's moving.
Right.
And we call that transformation of digital. And I think for businesses, the reality is, like, the speed and the magnitude is increasing so quickly that it's becoming we don't understand how fast this is moving and how fast it's changing our business, et cetera. So what's your take on that, and sort of how are you guys dealing with that?
Well, I'll start by saying, on the side, I teach digital advertising at UCLA, and I've done that for 20 years. I launched their curriculum there about the topic. And I would always joke to my students for the last 20 years, I would say, I have to update my content every quarter that I teach at this subject, because there's always new developments. And I, as someone who's seen as an expert, I'm still learning every day, and I'm figuring it out. And that's what I love and what we all love about this space, right? It's always so dynamic, and it's changing all the time. And so I just feel like I'm constantly learning, and as this area gets so fragmented and specialized, I'm not even an expert in everything anymore. I'm a curator and I bring in experts to my UCLA course, and I bring in, obviously at work, I don't do everything. I have experts around me that I tap into their knowledge. So it's always changing. I think with AI, machine learning is the biggest component of AI, basically, and that's been used for years. When you advertise on Facebook, Instagram, or any of the programmatic, any other these platforms today, they for years have been using machine learning to make basically your advertising work harder for you, and without you having to, needing humans to make it work hard. So it's been around for many years. Now, of course, with all the buzz around ChatGPT, I think there's a lot of definitely a lot of risk, with the downsides and risks with with ChatGPT, but there's a lot of positives and a lot of potential for creative, basically creative and marketing. I see it as a big tool, a new tool that's emerging that will make us be able to create advertising more quickly and more effectively. And what I mean by that is, if you think of it this way, there's so much work that goes into creating a video ad, right? And half of all advertisers on Facebook, Instagram don't even use their Reels or video product because they don't have the resources to create video ads. And we're actually a little bit like that at Draiver. We're just building our marketing function and capability, and it would be great. I have an awesome agency, Stripe Theory in Atlanta, but we still just, it takes a long time to kind of build those video ads. So it would be great if I could just, or my agency team could just give prompts, come up with a rough draft, a rough cut, and then we, edit and massage it and get it to a final place. So those are some of the applications I get excited about, is around the creative and making better ad creative. That's just one example. But I think another thing that one of the strategist creatives I work with, we were discussing this topic, and she said, it's really about also the ability to now edit. You can kind of focus more on editing and refining instead of just the raw creation. So it gives you that sort of, it's like a shortcut to get to a place where then you really make, work on that ad message creative content. Hope that makes sense. But so I think, it's exciting. It's early, very early days, of course. We're all figuring this out. It's fun. It's crazy. But I think there's a lot of potential.
And do you find, I always find when I talk to people and I ask them what it is, you get 17 different answers, even inside of your executive suite. It's like nobody has the same idea about what it is. I would imagine at Draiver, maybe it's a bit tighter because the technology is based on AI, but do you find it a similar issue or different?
You mean in terms of just getting alignment internally?
Yeah, people having different views about what it means.
Yeah, I think, for our company, so much of our product and tech team, they're focused on our product and they're not focused on the market. I focus, of course, being the CMO, on the marketing aspects of this, but they're focusing always on how can we use, we are always in, product development mode to create our next version of our products and platforms. So they're always using sort of the latest AI for a product development purpose.
Yeah, I think the challenges and opportunities are interesting because there's like the macro stuff and the micro stuff. Like you brought up some of the production stuff. I mean, a large portion of most businesses in the agency world is production work on the content side. And you look at that stuff and you see 50, 60, 70% of that kind of stuff going away, right? Which is a large chunk of business. So you think about what does the agency of the future really look like and what value are you providing to clients? I think that's a big conversation right now. And then I think, the thing I try to help our folks inside our organization understand is that businesses are dealing with like the macro level of that, right? I mean,
Exactly.
if you're Google or you're Amazon or some of these other folks like that, and you think, at scale in could be 3, could be 5 years long, you've got, half of your people that you currently are paying to do work today become probably half as valuable is the wrong word, but the work they're doing becomes harder to drive the same dollar amount for. But the other 50, you take advantage of these tools, becomes sort of like, 1.5 humans in the way we sort of think about this stuff today. And that's a crazy thing to think about, right?
And, I'm an optimist, so I see it as that the creatives now will just be able to produce more and they'll focus more of their time on editing, like I was saying before. So I think there's still in the foreseeable future anyway, for all of us here, there is still a need for that creative marketing strategy perspective that you inject into that creative, and having AI help you with that just means you're able to focus more on the strategic aspect of that, as opposed to the raw grunt work, putting together a video or ad content aspect of it. So I see the creatives still being indispensable and integral to the process, but I think they're going to this will help them focus more on the important aspects of that process. I also think your point's really great about, from a client perspective, what we're always struggling with is how do we stay ahead of the curve? How do we make sense of all these tools? So agency, and when I was on the agency side, which I spent many years at big agencies, we would always, we saw that our clients really wanted that advice, that guidance. So more and more, I think that's what's the most important thing is just for agencies, for those of you at agencies and consultancies here, it's really focusing on helping your clients make sense of all these technologies and tools and advising them so they can stay focused on the business strategy that they need to stay focused on and marketing strategy. And I just found that, that's what clients care about, is how do I stay ahead? How do I use this? How am I being most efficient, most effective with, my marketing spend? It's the same kind of fundamental questions, I think.
Yeah. So I guess I know. Are we okay? This means I don't know what this means. It's a time. This is weird. That's true. You did warn everybody. Yeah, I guess we'll take some questions. But I think before we do, just a fun one. Like, do you use ChatGPT or Midjourney or any of these other things in your business life?
Oh,
and what would be an example of that?
I mean, a little bit. I've played around with it, but it's mostly, I talk to my agency team a lot about it in terms of what are you guys, where can we use this? How's it going to help you? And we're just all kind of in this living lab kind of environment right now playing with it. But, and it's something that I actually had a meeting last week with UCLA about creating a course on this because there's so much interest and demand to understand, like, we need like 8 courses on it because this is just the marketing application side of it, but then there's all the, there's all the more serious societal implications and everything else, and that we won't get into right now. But there's a lot of aspects to this that I think really need a lot more understanding. So I'm just, I'm with all of you. I'm just like scratching the surface right now.
All right, question time for this amount of time. Yes.
So, quick one. How did the partnership with the race come up? Was it you go to them come to you? And then also, about how long did that take? Obviously, that world's a how long it took to negotiate and work through all the parts?
It came around through various, I'll say, just our CEO founder, who's my boss, Zarif, he had an interest in this. And so we discussed it and felt that this was a really strong brand fit for us with Formula One, just given kind of the technology and the innovation of Formula One, the automotive focus and enthusiasts and, industry that's part of this. So it just seemed like a natural fit. It took, I want to say, since late last year, we started talking with F1 Miami. We're an event supporter for F1 Miami, so we started talking with the F1 Miami team late last year, yeah. And I'll tell you, it was a huge project just to even be a client on this because we're a small team. So this is why I give huge kudos to not only our internal team, but my agency partner, Stripe Theory. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you so much, Patricia. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.